How's it going, everybody? This is Alex Caceres, and you're listening to Story of the Fight.
What up, Will?
What up?
Hey, sorry about the technical difficulties, everybody. That's my bad. But welcome to Story of the Fight. My name's Ramiro. That's my boy, Will. And this is where we love to talk all things mixed martial arts. Your boy's back. I was gone last week.
You were gone last week. We had I was gone a week. We had one together. Then you were gone. We're back.
Shout out Toasty for recovering.
Shout out Landry Ward.
Shout out Landry Ward as well. Yes. But hey, if this is your first time listening to the podcast, please like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Goes a long way. We're also available to pretty much everywhere. Will, where can they find us?
Yeah, we're mostly on YouTube, Twitch, Twitter. But if you just go to storyofthefight.com, it'll list everything. Instagram, TikTok, Reddit. It's all there.
Hey,
Shout out
Regen. Real one, man. Always joining us. What is up, Regen?
Hope
so,
the
hey.
family's doing well.
Oh, yeah. You just had a baby too, right? Well, I say just had a baby. It's probably what, 2 months old now? 3 months old?
Time flies.
I don't know. Hey, I love, though, getting to know our listeners, you know?
Yeah.
I feel like I know them personally, by now. That's one of the beautiful things about doing this podcast every single week, man. But this weekend, do we have any UFC fights? I don't think so.
No UFC. Well, there was some UFC fights, the road to UFC, but we're not going to cover those because it seems like the UFC doesn't even care about promoting that, even though there's pretty good fights if you can find them. But there was
2 days.
a one card.
We have McGregor versus Chandler. Tough.
Do you think that
should be an interesting season? I don't know, but either way, I think Tough's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, the show's going to be super fun. I wonder, we might shout out Regen, 5 months, and she just pooped. Be right back. Yeah, that sounds about right. But
yep.
The show will be good. I'm sure we'll cover some stuff from the show. But the fight, even if the fight doesn't happen, the show's going to be fun. Connor told Ariel 2 or 3 weeks ago that he's already started the process with USADA. Dana confirmed last week that he hasn't. So I don't know what's going on with that. He does not look like he's in shape either. He's just chilling.
He's chilling, man. He's partying it up, you know?
Yeah.
But
regardless, one FC, one championship. They've been putting on fights every Friday now. Not their prime cards. That's about once a month, it seems now. But
which are always really entertaining.
Yeah, and every single week, every Friday on YouTube, they have one Friday fights over in Lumpini in Thailand, and they just put on bangers every single week. It starts early in the morning for me in California. By the time I get to work, it's usually the main event. Shout out Blunderbub. Blunderbub's gonna be stoked that we're covering these. Yeah, he's gonna be stoked that we're covering these. Because last week was no different, or Friday was no different. It's crazy. They're almost using this. You know how the UFC has the Contender Series, and they have guys fight on there, and they're like, "We'll give him a contract." That's kind of what One Championship is doing with some of these fights. Every once in a while, they'll have somebody who's on the main One Championship roster fighting on these. They had somebody fighting on this. A couple people fighting on this card that were already rostered. But for the most part, this is their feeder league to get onto the big show, right? And then end up on a prime card, basically.
It's like AAA?
It's the format. It's like AAA, kind of. But it's crazy because, Dana's not giving out bonuses to people on the Contender Series, you know? And, let's be real. The Contender Series sucks. Most of the fights are pretty bad.
Hey, dude, come on, man.
Every once in a while, you'll see either a banger or it's a clear
Sean
standout
O'Malley
performance.
Came from there, you know.
Well, yeah,
Bo
you'll
Nickel,
get those, right?
You know?
But you're not having a 10-fight card that is just fireworks the entire time.
That is true.
You know, otherwise everybody would be watching it. But how many people are watching the Contender Series? Bloodbro says if AAA was 12 nasty brawls every week. Yeah, let's just get into it.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, we had the main event, Pongsiri versus Tyson Harrison. Tyson Harrison, I've been trying to get everybody to watch him because he's just been – his last few fights are just pure chaos. I think we watched one of them on here.
Yeah, we did.
Versus –
I don't remember who it was, but that's where I first started watching Harrison.
Who it was. Yeah. But regardless, it was a great fight. Every time he fights, it's crazy. He's like the prodigy of John Wayne Parr. And Pongsiri has like gone up and down in one championship, but you could tell by the guys he's faced or at least been matched up with, they clearly think very highly of him, you know?
Yeah.
And I was telling people, I was like, this is the biggest test so far for Tyson Harrison. If he can get through this one, his next fight will be on a prime card. I actually reached out to shout out Ty for ONE FC, or ONE Championship. I messaged him after Tyson's last fight, and I was like, dude, get this guy on a prime card. And he's like, he's very close. And I was like, oh, one more, let's go. And he fell short. But
it's all right.
In my opinion, nobody's stock goes down in this fight. What did you think of it?
Oh, dude, I freaking loved it. So Pongsiri coming in, right? And right away, I noticed the size difference.
Yeah.
And in that first round, Harrison was throwing bombs right away.
Dude, the first couple seconds, he was like, we're going to war.
Yeah, right away. But,
yeah,
in the second round, Pongsiri made the adjustment, took away that range, and pressured nonstop. Yeah. So even with that reach advantage, even with that height advantage, Pongsiri being right in his face, he started closing that gap, man. And the elbows. Oh my God, that's one of my favorite things about watching the Muay Thai with the MMA gloves.
The 4-ounce gloves. Yeah.
Oh my God, so much fun. And Muay Thai fighters are just so creative with their striking.
Yeah.
They come at you from so many different angles. And one of the things that I absolutely love from both Harrison and Pongsiri, and really it's been everybody that I've started watching here in Muay Thai, is their ability to still continue, piecing together combos from weird angles and throwing body kicks, leg kicks, finishing up with those powerful kicks after a 2-punch combo. It's just so much violence, nonstop.
Blunderbub says Pongsiri was pushing him like Harrison was the one who was a foot shorter.
100%.
Yeah. So we 100%. Have
look at this.
I mean, this is just highlights, right? But the body kick from Harrison and the body shots from Pongsiri, that was a big one too. When he would get close, he starts throwing to the body. But I mean, look how look at that, the jumping tomahawk elbow. The left hook to the body from Pongsiri, the uppercut. He was doing so well at fighting, fighting in the right range.
Dude, can we say the excitement from the fans with every elbow that was thrown, with every punch that was landed, with every knee to the body? Okay, what has a better crowd? Lumpini Boxing Stadium, right? Watching Muay Thai. Let's say maybe Manchester United soccer with all the chanting,
pretty good,
World Cup. What has the best crowd?
It's tough to beat Lumpini, man. It really is, especially when they have a home crowd guy fighting. Because like you said, every time. Yeah, Blunderbub says Lumpini crowds are feral. I love it. Every time there's a strike landed, it's just a big pop. And
over and over again.
Yeah.
It got me excited with every punch and every single strike.
Well, that's the thing. Like showing the clips on here, we don't really know if we can share audio, right? We're always skeptical of screen sharing things because of getting copyrights and stuff like that.
Thin ice, dude. We're skating on
thin ice. But the crowd adds so much excitement to it, where even just a regular combo, you're like, whoo, that was crazy. Yeah. And it's it's just a regular combo. But then every once in a while, when they just go toe to toe, they're standing in front of each other, just blow for blow, it really gets crazy, especially with the crowd.
Let me ask you this, because you've been watching Muay Thai a lot longer than I have, right? How much do the dumps count? So when they're throwing combos, Harrison ending with a T kick up the middle, and he gets caught and he dumps him, right? Pongsiri dumps him. How much does that count towards the scoring?
Not much. Not much. It is
okay.
It's in MMA, at least in the unified rules, they'll say octagon controls the last thing to score. It's kind of like that. It's not because it's not necessarily an effective. You're not doing damage. That's obviously number one. It's more of just a.
Hey, dude, if somebody dropped me, my hip would probably be done. So the damage is.
Well, the damage is.
Somebody just dumped me.
But it's more like more like showing the judges and everybody that like, hey, I'm the one dominating in here. It's not going to do anything to sway really, unless it's like razor close and you keep dumping the guy, maybe. But it's really just like look, I'm the one that's in here controlling things. It's probably more disheartening than anything as the other fighter if you just keep getting tripped and dumped, you know.
Yeah.
We can show like, look, this is the another combo.
And by the way, anybody that's listening through like Apple Podcasts or any of the other, streaming services, highly recommend that you join us on Spotify or YouTube so you can actually see the footage as we're talking about it. Also makes it a lot more fun.
Yeah. So this was after the fight. Look at the body shot to the head from Pongsiri, and then the elbow. Like, come on.
Wow, yeah, and there's the dump we were talking about. Yeah.
Look at this shot.
I can see how that could be disheartening. Yeah,
right to the body, left hook up top, and then the right elbow coming in. Here it is.
Boom! Beautiful combos.
Man. And the elbow from Tyson Harrison.
With that crowd in Lumpini, how can the fighters not be excited too? Because at the end of every single round, they looked so pumped, man, to be fighting each other. And then at the end of the first, Pongsiri still throwing blows. Yeah. Pongsiri's still throwing blows, and then the ref has to step in and be like, dude, the round's over. And even after that, like they still went and hugged, and they're like, dude, that was
smiling.
That was good. Hey, nice late shots.
Yeah,
nice late all shots. Excited.
There's two dudes
so
going
much
to war,
fun, man. So much fun.
Two dudes going to war.
I know, and I'm so glad I watched that fight.
It's a really good one.
That's probably only the third Harrison fight I've watched, but every single one's been a banger.
I mean, the guy it's just pure violence. I mean, at this point, you could say, right, win or lose, it's still going to be a sick fight.
Must watch TV.
Must watch TV, dude. And they have. We'll talk about it at the end of the show, but they have a couple. This one of the upcoming ones, I think it's 23 or 22 or something like that. Friday fights. It's getting real stacked, like real stacked.
Your boy has to start watching on a regular basis.
Yeah, it's on YouTube. It's just free on YouTube.
Dang,
just watch.
YouTube's free, dude.
Blunderbub says there's a decibel level where you can't even hear Mitch and Gianni are talking about. Yeah, sometimes the commentary, they're like screaming for their lives trying to get on the broadcast because it's so loud.
I love it.
Was
it Mitch that was pointing out Pongsiri that he has a catcher's mitt for a face? I was like, what? That is such a good line. And that was right after Harrison landed a straight right down the middle. Yeah. And he just ate it. He's like, he has a catcher's mitt for a face, that Pongsiri.
Yeah.
So good.
Sounds like somebody would say.
So good. All right, man. Do we have anything else on that fight?
No. If anybody didn't watch it, watch it. It's on YouTube. The link's in the description, but watch it after this. Don't leave this.
Banger. Straight banger. If you like violence, if you like technical striking, if you like Rock'em Sock'em Robots, this is it. Go watch that fight.
Go watch that fight. So we're not gonna cover all the fights because it's been a busy weekend, despite there not being a UFC. Usually it's busy because it's like, all right, you got to watch one on Friday, you got to watch UFC on Saturday, get everything prepped for the show on Sunday. Not so much this time, but still a busy weekend.
This time it was life. It was life. Work. Sports.
I'm actually on call right now, by the way.
You're on call?
I'm on call. If a client calls and they need something, I have to.
They're going to learn about Harrison in the background and Pongsiri.
I said,
like, hey, dude, I just need my network fixed. I don't need to hear about Harrison.
I was like, man, it's going to be tough being on call because there's a new thing with work being on call for the weekends, and I'm like, man, it's going to be tough to do this. And they're like, well, it's not every weekend; it rotates. And I'm like, yeah, but I'm busy every weekend, so like, it's going to be tough. And I was like, look, if somebody reaches out, if someone needs help on a Sunday morning, like I'm not getting to them until like noon. And I was like, maybe if they jump on the live stream and they put the ticket in on the chat, maybe I'll see it. But otherwise, I'm not looking at my phone until
That's hilarious, man. Exact same thing with my team. Like I want to say it was 2 weeks ago, somebody tried calling me while we were on the pod, and I can't answer, right? So I call them afterwards. I was like, yo, I'm available 24/6.
Yeah.
23/6. There's just an hour and a half maybe in the day where I can't. But all right, let's cover the next fight then that we're going to cover. I believe that was Teeyai versus Saklek.
Yeah, dude. Oh my God. I mean, like I said, these cards, bangers, top to bottom. I think I don't know like what you would say is like the fight of the night, you know?
Tough.
But it's tough. But every single one, it's just bangers. Teeyai, yeah. More like Teeyai, yeah. This fight, I mean, knockouts, it's tough to say like, oh, knockout of the year, right? But it's on the short list.
Yeah.
It's got to be. I mean, this
recency
was, I know
bias, maybe.
Recency bias, right? But it's
sure.
definitely on the list. Usually what I do when something crazy happens in fighting, normally at the end of the year, we just do MMA awards, right? So it's a little different, including Muay Thai or something like that. And we haven't even talked about that. Maybe we will. But normally when something like this happens, I'll write it down. I have like a notes, right? Where I'll be like, ooh, that's a contender for knockout of the year. Ooh, that's a contender for fight of the year. And then you go back at the end of the year and you look through them and stuff and you pick. This is on that list.
Shit, that's pretty smart. I should probably start doing the exact same thing.
Because we've watched so many fights in a year. You know, it's like,
dude.
By the end of the year, it's so hard.
Jumbled up.
Yeah, and it's so hard to remember. Did that happen last year? Did that happen this year? I think this past MMA awards, you picked a fight that happened in the wrong year.
Like at the end of the year.
Yeah.
For the previous year.
Yeah, and then the year before that, I did that. I picked one that happened the year before, and I was like,
you just all get jumbled up.
Yeah, so because of that, I started just having a live note throughout the year where I just add stuff for different categories.
Hey, shout out Richard Casual. He hasn't done that yet, so.
Shout out. Yeah, Rich. We need Rich to start watching some fights. Maybe that's the trick. He did say the next time we do a fight companion that he would be on. Yeah, so
everybody wants more Rich time.
Everybody wants more Rich time. But this fight, you know, they say like Muay Thai usually starts slow, right? And that's kind of the game plan you can see from Tyson Harrison in the main event, where it's like, look, he's going to start slow. I need to put it on him quick, and hopefully he can never catch up.
Yep.
These guys didn't get that memo. Just from the beginning, they are blasting each other. Chavella voice. Blimbo says Chavella voice. Saklek was astral traveling. I miss Chavella, man. What a guy. But
hey, man. So, quick question: strawweight Muay Thai. What's that weight?
I believe strawweight Muay Thai.
I can't remember. And I just watched that fight.
15. I think 115.
Because my thing is, you know, hearing strawweights, you're automatically thinking probably, hey, not very much power.
Mm-hmm.
But then I was watching these guys go at it, and I was like, there's a lot of power between these two guys. And even like Teeyai's stiff jab dropping Saklek in that first round, you could tell there was a lot of damage going on with every single strike landed. And
that's the difference, right?
Replay.
That jab.
Oh, look at that. Right up the middle. And you've mentioned before, Will, how with the traditional Muay Thai gloves, that probably doesn't get by.
Exactly.
It's probably blocked, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you can see the hands from Saklek being a little bit more separated with that high guard.
You can see right here.
Right.
If I go, let's do it.
Are you going slow motion?
Shout out YouTube.
Oh, look at you, man. Boom. There it is.
I mean, come on, dude. Look at the way it splits the guard. The guard was there.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
With big gloves, that doesn't get through, you know?
It lands right on the chin. Right on the chin.
Sits him down.
Yeah, that was awesome. Really good. Yeah. Hey, by the way, great job by the refs all night. All in position, ready to go.
This guy was fantastic.
Yeah.
Using his leg to break people, puts a knee shield in constantly.
That's on my notes in there later on, too. It's so funny the way he does it. Yeah. It's awesome.
But when you talk about, people talk about fighting in a phone booth, right? That's like a phrase people say a lot. If people don't understand what that means, it's this fight. This fight was, look at these guys. I mean, it's so insane.
Very little separation.
Teeyai is just constantly on him. Saklek's trying to back him off with elbows. And it's like they're just trading. You know?
Nobody wanted to take a step back. Nobody wanted to be the one that takes a step back.
I mean, this sequence right here up against the ropes that it's about to play.
Is this where they all cock their right hand back and just keep on throwing?
They just go back and forth.
Look at this. Right here. Boom, boom, boom. And it's like, who's going to land first?
Yeah. But the big difference is Teeyai's going to the body also. That's the big difference. Whereas Saklek's going head hunting, Teeyai is just going up and down. He's working up and down. And the leg kick all night going against that back leg. I mean, come on, dude. Look at those leg kicks. Just a crazy fight.
And I think it was Teeyai too, where was it this fight where Teeyai starts off and Saklek starts off with the leg kick, and Teeyai kind of spins and looks at him like, "Oh, okay, is that what we're doing, dude?" Yeah, and he throws like a really hard one himself. Oh, so much fun, man.
Yeah, I couldn't believe watching this one. This first round was because everybody says that, right? Muay Thai is always slow. The first round's a feeling out process. The rumor is that it's that people can get their bets in before the fight actually starts. That's the old school, like where it comes from is the legend. But I mean, these guys just went toe to toe, swinging and banging, and it was
elbowing,
awesome.
Swinging and elbowing.
Yeah, and then Teeyai was like, "Oh yeah, actually, I forgot we can throw knees. Can we talk about that knockout, dude?
Dude, it was beautiful. The way he's taking a step back, right before he throws it, probably has Saklek thinking like, okay, this is a point where I could pressure because he's taking steps back. Because like we just showed right now, it seemed like both of them were refusing to be the ones that are taking a step back. Yeah. And so he starts taking a step back. Saklek starts walking in, and as he's taking a step back, just flies forward with that flying knee. It was a thing of beauty, man.
Yeah. Blunderbub says it's different when it's two Thai fighters. I swear. It's more often straight to war than taking the first round off. I think it's also one championship. I think because in the UFC at least, right, it's the chances of getting a bonus not that high. They usually only give out 3, right? 2 performance bonuses, 1 fight of the night. But in 1FC, if you just go all out, you're most likely going to get a bonus. So I think that has something to do with it too, where they're kind of breaking that tradition. And it's like, I'm going to go out there, try to starch this dude early. I'm trying to get $50,000.
Can't blame the UFC though, man, because they only made $322 million in profit.
Did you watch that? We'll talk. I want to talk about that after this. The Luke Thomas video.
Yeah, I watched that. Made me mad. We'll talk about it later.
Pissed me off. We'll talk about that. But speaking of this knockout, let's talk about this knockout. Not only was it a fantastic knockout, but the reason the reset happened is because Saklek dropped him with the body shot. And then he comes back and knocks him out. I mean, look at the sequence. We'll just show it because we can.
Hey, shout out Juan, by the way, for letting us show some replays.
So Saklek, did you see the setup? Saklek comes in. He throws the elbow down. The downward elbow right there. Here it comes again.
Yep. Downward elbow.
Right there. And then he does the same setup, but to the body. I mean, how beautiful is that?
That's awesome.
How beautiful is that?
Look at him. He's all excited there.
Yeah. He's like, oh, I might change the ties on this. Teeyai's like, damn, I just got dropped by a body shot. Can't believe that happened. I've been beating this dude's ass the whole first round.
Step back, and boom. Beautiful.
I mean, how amazing is that?
Yeah, and I mean, Saklek right away, as soon as he fell, had his hands up like, what happened?
Yeah, and he's looking out to the side. I mean, brutal, dude.
Might have been an automatic thing that his body did. I don't know. But I like to think I was wondering what happened.
Yeah, I like to think.
Makes it less brutal in my mind, you know?
Yeah. I like to think that he was able to think.
Yeah. That was a really good knockout. I'm with you. Contender for knockout of the year for sure.
I mean, the fact that he got dropped with a body shot 10 seconds before that, and then they get up, they do the count, eats a push kick, and then as soon as they come back in, he lands a flying knee knockout. I mean, just beautiful. And it wasn't like he dropped him and it was like he got back up, or if it was MMA, he dropped him and it was the finishing shots that put him away. Dude was out.
Yeah, it was awesome, man. It was good stuff.
Yeah.
All right.
Fantastic fight. We move on.
Yeah, let's move on. We got Sansiri versus Rit. I think it's the next fight we're going to cover, right?
Yeah. And my heart's heavy.
Well, let's talk about it. Why is it heavy?
I'm a big Sansiri fan. I'm a big Sansiri fight. I'm a fan of his fights. Sansiri comes in. I like to think of him as like the Ty Diaz brother. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Because he comes in, he's not shredded, right? He looks a little soft, and it's like some people might be like, "Oh, this dude's out of shape." To me, that's someone who's efficient. He looks like somebody who could go 10 rounds. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not like he's fat. He's just not fucking bulky and shredded. You know?
No.
He looks like someone who could out cardio you over 10 rounds. And he is a slow starter. And then
I wouldn't mind looking like Sansiri, you know?
I mean, yeah, I'm not saying he doesn't look, but you know what I mean? He doesn't look like some of these guys who are out there just
Daniel Cormier.
No. But
I look more like Daniel Cormier now.
But Sansiri, like I love his style because like he's so durable. And then once he like flips it on and it's just punches and bunches. They're not crazy powerful, super sharp punches, but it's just constantly on you and you just start drowning, you know? He had that last fight against Komawa. I think we watched that on here actually, where he was getting beat down pretty bad in those first couple rounds. And then he comes on strong and the crowd's behind him and it's going crazy every time he throws something and he's just walking this dude down. He doesn't stop coming forward. And like I said, it's not super powerful shots that are going to put you away, but you're just getting concussed.
Peppering him.
Yeah, and he doesn't stop. And it looked like we were going to get vintage Sansiri. Like we got it for a little bit. But it was also his
at the end of the first.
Yeah.
Dude, at the end of the first, he rocked Rit. And that's what really started turning the tide. Because at first, I felt like Rit was kind of taking the first round until Sansiri rocked him. You know, had him a little wobbled. He starts going off with those crazy combos that you were just talking about. And I love how at the end of the round, right? Because let's be honest, he was saved by the bell. Rit was saved by the bell in that one. And he puts his arms up. Rit does like, dude, that's all you got? And I was like, oh, here we go.
Here we go,
about to be lit. And then Sansiri coming out again that second round with those crazy combos.
Yeah. So this is Sansiri. His back is to us right now on the video. And this is the end of the first round where, I mean, look at those punches. I mean, it's not like he's throwing all of it into the punches, but like they're so fast and they're just in your face. I mean, look at that straight right hand.
Straight right money.
Yeah, and the left over the top. And like you said, Rit really didn't have much this round. And there's the one that wobbled him, right? And Sansiri just goes at him hard.
Yeah. Smell blood, man.
There he is, landing a bunch of shots again.
On the attack.
And he's
pumped. See, like, hands up, like, what up? What up? That was very Nate Diaz of him, too.
Yeah. And then and the second round started, and I was like, man, this is more of that. Let's go. Let's see these punches again. And instead, Rit was like, I know how to handle this. You know?
Yeah.
Some people will get drowned in that, but some people will not. I mean, look at those punches. Oh, God.
Oh, my God.
What a sequence.
It was beautiful. It was really good, too. And, you know, that it's a slippery slope, right? Because if you're Sansiri, this is how you take people out, but you also leave yourself open.
Really open.
And if Rit was really, really rocked at the end of the first round, Sansiri puts him out. But the recovery from Rit was pretty damn good to where he had the consciousness to be able to say, okay, let me sit back a little bit, dip down, come in with that overhand left that landed right on the chin.
And I wonder if, like, I would like to know what the corner's telling him, right? Like, look, this is where he becomes an avalanche. He's going to open like that again. Just stay calm and just uncork that shot.
Boom.
Come on.
Beautiful.
Yeah. And like I said, heavy heart, but it's a great knockout.
And look at chin straight up in the air. Left, right, left, right. Look at.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. Violence. And he did catch him with a couple of those shots. But again, Rit did a really good job recovering at the end of the round. Man.
I mean, God, that. Bam.
Great replays here. All these camera angles, fantastic. Look at refs right there.
Yeah.
Those are some carrying refs. I like
them. The one championship refs are really good. It's almost like that's what happens when you hire your own refs and you don't have to take whatever the commission gives you.
So is Olivier Cost just strictly one?
Yeah.
He's so good too.
He's really good. They have a lot of good guys.
Let me ask you. Herzog or Olivier?
If it's an MMA fight, I'm still going Herzog.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I like it.
But the boss is really good. They call him the boss for a reason, you know. And I've talked about it before. Like when you're there in person, like you can see him, even if he's not reffing the fights, he's like running around the circle, like up close, like trying to get angle. He's literally running, watching the fight closely, even if he's not reffing. Sometimes
love it.
But yeah, very cool. But yeah, Rit, fantastic job to just keep the composure after getting overwhelmed at the end of that first round, and then just throw that left right down the pipe. I mean, it was perfect. And this is now his, I think, 4th win over Sansiri.
Dang, rough.
It's tough out there.
All right, you want to move on to the next one we're going to cover?
Yeah, we're skipping a couple here, right? What's the next one?
Yeah, Sundell versus Bjelogrlic.
Smilla. She's 18 years old.
Wow. What were you doing when you're 18 years old? What were you doing?
Well, I'll come back to you and raise you an even tougher question on the next fight. But yeah, not much, man. When I was 18, I wasn't beating people down.
I think I was just playing Madden. Like trying to figure out how to ditch a couple classes. You know what I mean? Hey, shout out DL.
So Smilla is the one of their Muay Thai champions. She beat Jackie. So this is her first
was a kickboxing
fight.
Match, right?
This was kickboxing. This was her first kickboxing match, for one at least. Maybe she's had kickboxing fights coming up. And Blunderbub said, Blunderbub says she wanted to throw those elbows so bad. I think she did throw a couple elbows, right? Because there's no elbows in kickboxing. But man, Milana, shredded.
Oh yeah,
has a ton of heart, ton of toughness, but she got absolutely worked for 3 straight rounds. I don't know how
body work, man.
I don't know how she didn't take a seat from those body shots. That left hook to the body from, oh my god, and she would go up and down with it, throughout the whole fight. She's going over the top. Isn't that crazy?
Has she been kickboxing since she was 2?
I know. She's out of the Fairtex gym. That's
the amount of power, from an orthodox position that she was able to generate with that lead left hook to the body was super impressive, man.
Yeah,
I didn't realize she was only 18.
Only 18. That's part of the reason why I want to talk about this fight. Also, she's a champ, right? But in another sport. So she's trying to become a kickboxing champ. She's trying to get belts in 2 different sports. And I mean, she's 18 years old. She's out of the Fairtex gym. She's training with Stamp. She's training with all those killers over there. I think Stamp was there in the crowd. Blunderbub says 18 and marching people around the ring, like the whole fight. She's just pressuring her, and Milana is just trying to get some respect. She's throwing spinning back fists. She's trying to throw something that is going to get the respect and make Smilla take a back step. Not once did she take a back step. She just walked her down. Actually, let's just
on this one, this is one where I want to give props to the ref, because you have Bjelogrlic, you have Sundell. They're both in that, like, they clinch, and they're both still throwing shots. And so the ref's like, dude, I am about to get caught with any of those shots. Let me just stick my leg in here real quick. Sticks his leg out. And then, like, after that, he separates them. And I was like, man, this ref is genius.
He gets the knee shield in. Like, he's like, it was
work of art, dude.
Very good reffing. And he refed awesome. Damn near every fight. Like, every fight.
Did a great job.
In there. This is from their Instagram. But just look at this sequence from Smilla. There's a left hook to the body. She's throwing knees.
Knee to the body.
Another knee. 1, 2, left to the body. Knee again. Knee again. Like, I mean, just walking her down. Complete disregard was coming her way.
If you're Bjelogrlic,
like left to the body again. I mean, come on.
She lands a few shots as Smilla is walking in.
Yeah.
But she just didn't stop.
No.
She's like the Terminator.
Yeah. I actually watched that last night. I was telling Rich.
Oh, really? It was really good?
Yeah. Well, I wanted to watch Terminator.
Still holds up?
Yeah, it's still good. I wanted to watch Terminator 2, but then Katie had never seen either of them. So I was like, well, we can't.
Oh, you got to start
Terminator
with
2. You got to start with 1. And then it's like, if you like 1, Terminator 2 is even better. And then, like me and Rich were talking about, you just forget everything after that even exists. Just stick with 1 and 2.
Awesome, man. Hey, one last thing, or a couple more things with Smilla. That front kick to the face. How many times did that land on Bjelogrlic?
I know, dude. She's so tough to take all those shots throughout the whole fight. And at the end of the fight, she's standing there, they're doing the announcement. She doesn't even look like, I mean, clearly she's in fantastic shape. She's shredded. But talk about not only like a physically tough beatdown, but just completely demoralizing. everything you threw back didn't matter. And you just kept getting walked down. But yeah, fantastic performance by Smilla.
I'm a fan.
Yeah. Go back and watch. Dude, her fight with Jackie Bontan was really sick.
You know what this reminded me of, dude? So one of my favorite female fighters to watch because of the aggression, Johanna Jędrzejczyk.
Yeah.
And I felt like I was watching two Johanna Jędrzejczyks in there. Just want to put it all on the line, throwing nonstop. It was so entertaining, man. I absolutely love this fight.
Could you imagine if they had the 4-ounce gloves?
I can.
Nuts.
I can imagine, and I would love to see what I'm imagining right now.
Yeah. I don't know when Smilla's going to fight Muay Thai again. I mean, she's got to defend her belt. I hope it's soon because, I mean, like Blunderbub was talking about, her elbows are nasty. And like in kickboxing, you're not really supposed to grab the back of the head to throw knees. And she was doing it the whole fight. Let's be real.
Yeah. Well, that's where the ref was putting in his leg trying to separate him. Because like I said, they were clinching and still throwing.
Yeah.
Bjelogrlic was still throwing hooks. She threw a lot of hooks. And I think that was one of the big differences. Smilla was throwing a lot of straight shots, beating her to the punch. I don't think she was a lot faster. She was just more efficient with her strikes. That was it.
Yeah. Yeah. And her timing is just fucking really good.
Timing beats speed. God. Precision beats power. Who said that?
Precision beats power. You did.
I'll take credit for it.
It's like the Office where it's like you miss all the shots you don't take. Michael Scott. It's like so Ramiro. Conor
McGregor. All right. What was the last fight we're going to cover? Ghazali versus Ty?
Ghazali versus Ty. So you asked me what I was doing when I was 18. What were you doing when you were 16?
Definitely ditching school.
Yeah.
Definitely playing Madden. Let me see what else. I don't think I could say the other things I was doing. But yeah, definitely not fighting.
Definitely not beating down adults.
Although we did have an underground boxing ring going on. Shout out Robert Stefani, who went undefeated. Shout out Robert Stefani. Yes.
Did everybody do that? Yeah, we used to put a tarp down on the lawn. Everybody would box and stuff.
Good time, man. Good time. Stuff. We used the dunes in Moss Landing because there's like this one thing that kind of goes down, and that was like our ring.
Gotcha. Yeah, nothing like fighting on sand.
Oh, dude, the backdrop. It's like a video game.
It's like Street Fighter. I mean?
Yeah, exactly. It really was.
Oh, it's so funny.
Blunderbuff says he was getting thrown around the mat room at 16. Yeah.
Yeah.
There we go.
Meanwhile, Ghazali. I mean, this was a great fight. Ghazali is, I mean, he's 16 years old. Ty, I don't know how old he is, but he's not 16.
Not 16.
And he was landing on Ghazali, and Ghazali would just like stick his tongue out. He's bleeding. He'd scream at him and start
very 16-year-old thing to do, by the way.
Very 16-year-old thing to do. Yeah.
He's putting his hands up and making those little,
Yeah.
Oh, it's awesome.
And then he ended up getting Ty to start taunting back. He'd do the little shimmy and stick his tongue out. But I mean, I'm trying to find like a good spot to show because this was just a fucking banger of a fight. I mean, I'll show the highlights in between rounds right here.
They say your brain's not fully developed until you're how old? It's like 25 or something.
25 or something, yeah. So Ghazali is on the right here.
In the black trunks.
I mean, look at these shots that he's throwing. Like, look at that. And just going to war, both of them landing on each other. Ghazali coming out off of like a 15-second knockout in his last fight.
Are you sure he's 16? He doesn't look 16.
Isn't that nuts?
I think he's 25. I think he's
fights like he's 25.
Jeez.
But Ty no slouch, right? I think everybody got put on notice in Ghazali's last fight, where it's like, okay, yeah, he's 16 years old, but don't treat him like it. Don't just assume you go in there and knock out a kid.
What weight class again?
This one was, where was this one? This was at flyweight.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I'm trying to pull up. Once Ty got cut, look at this. This is the cool part right here. This is like some Fight Club shit.
Okay. So you have,
I mean, look at him.
Ghazali got cut?
Yeah, Ghazali's cut on the forehead, on the hairline, pretty much. Look how like game he is. They're going to war at this point, and he's just got him in the corner. This was after her first half of the second round. Ty pretty much poured it all out on Ghazali. I mean, he was really going hard at him. You can see he's pretty much gassed here. And Ghazali's bloodied from that first minute of the first or the second round, but is like still in his face, just will not let him up. I mean, look at him throwing
Can
the
you
elbows.
imagine going in, let's say that you're, I don't know, 25, 26 years old, you get beat by a 16-year-old. Look at him. He's so pumped. He's bleeding. He's saying nobody's going to stop this fight. Look, he's jumping up and down in the corner. Jeez.
I mean,
and meanwhile, Ty's like holding onto the rope.
Yeah,
like just trying to.
I gave him everything I could right there, man.
Exhausted. Oh my God. And the cool thing is, you know that Ghazali's going to continue developing, both with the fight IQ. You know, he's going to continue growing up to be bigger, stronger. Man, sky's the limit for Ghazali.
Yeah, and I think the big difference is, nice trip there. The big difference is a lot of these guys, these Muay Thai fighters are adapting to the small gloves, whereas Ghazali's like coming up with this. You know, he's growing up training for 4-ounce Muay Thai. And it makes a big difference.
Next generation here.
It makes a big difference. And you could see early in this fight, Ghazali was trying to load up on all his shots, trying to throw big overhands, things like that. And it wasn't really getting through as much. And I think probably because his last fight, he landed a big overhand that got the knockout, one-punch knockout. But then after Ty really like poured it on him in that second round, he started adjusting and started throwing just straight shots. And the straight shots are the difference maker in 4-ounce Muay Thai. I mean, you can even see there that right hand was wild, and Ty was able to frame off of it and land his own shot.
Yeah.
Look at the timing on that.
Dude, once again, shout out One Championship for allowing us to show this. I feel like it makes it so much better, being able to not just describe our favorite parts of the fight, but being able to show it at the same time. It's a game changer, dude.
Because, I mean, it's cool being able to show pictures and stuff just so you can get a little bit more context. But see, there's the straight punches from Ghazali that he started throwing. Another one right there.
The jab.
Yeah.
Spit out mouthpiece.
Yeah, and I think we'll skip forward. We're not going to show the whole fight, obviously. But, I mean, look at him. Look at the gamesmanship from Ghazali.
Yep. Oh, my God.
Come on, dude.
You look so pumped.
Dude is hyped. Just trying to will himself into the fight, you know? Because, I mean, he lost
and then you have Ty that lands an elbow to the top of the head, so Ghazali just pats the top of his head, like saying, like, hey, nothing, it's all good. It's all okay. And then you see Ty.
That's where Ty starts giving it back. I mean, this sequence is sick.
Oh, hey, also, don't stick your tongue out when you're about to eat a straight right on your mouth. It won't end very well.
Well, you're predicting it here, right?
This is the most fights Rich has watched in a while.
Yeah.
Oh, what a shot landed.
Left hook, right hand as he comes in. Because you could see Ty's exhausted. You know, he's coming in. His defense isn't sound at this point. So he comes in. They're in a dogfight. They're taunting each other. And, man, Ghazali with that step back to bring him in. And he just...
Coach tackled by Ghazali. The excitement,
that left hook, right hand is just beautiful.
Man.
16 years old in Lumpini Stadium. You know?
That's amazing.
Here's the replay here. You see the taunting. That's the same combo there, that left hook, right hand.
Yep. Trying to hit him with the elbow straight up the middle. Missed.
Yeah. He just extended himself there, you know?
Yeah. Wow. Great combo to the fight there.
Bam.
Boom.
And the right hand.
Boom.
Right in the jaw.
Night. All right.
Look at all these angles.
I know. I'm really enjoying this. Really enjoying One. Wow.
The ref's like,
again,
all right,
ref right there.
He's like, never mind.
You know, and that's one of the things that I also like about Muay Thai. It's not the automatic 8 count. Ref kind of gauges to see the state of the fighter, what kind of condition the fighter is in. And like most of the knockouts that I saw from these fights, the ref would, like right now, take a look at the fighter, maybe count to 2, and then just wave it off, not wanting to put the fighter at higher risk. And so boxing, for example, they go straight into the 8 count right away.
Yeah.
No matter how dazed they seem, you know, they'll ask them to walk towards them, rub the gloves on the chest, choke. Well, they don't do that in boxing, but you know what I mean.
They usually, and then, in boxing, it's usually, if you can stand up by the 8 count, they're probably going to let you fight.
Chances are they're going to let you fight. And so you continue seeing already concussed fighters continue moving forward and eating more damage. And I love the fact that, again, in Muay Thai, they just wave it off if they see that the fighter's pretty bad.
Yeah, just don't watch Haggerty versus Nongo. They let him up 3 times.
Nongo have
2
at it.
times. Yeah, they're like,
Have
you
at
can't
it,
let
Nongo.
Nongo lose. You gotta get him up.
But I think that was all we're going to cover today.
Yeah, there's some other bangers. If you go in the description on our video, this live stream, there's a link to the event. It's on YouTube. The top comment is the timestamps for all the fights. They're marked which ones have knockouts, which ones have bonuses. Just click through them. You know, the ones that we didn't cover are still great. It was a really good card.
So what do we have coming up next week? We have a UFC Fight Night, Kai Kara-France versus Amir Albazi.
It's actually a really good card.
Was Amir Albazi the guy that got in trouble?
No, that's Azatar.
Smuggling in potatoes?
That was Azatar. Otman Azatar, right?
Hey, our boy, though, is on that card as well. Alex Caceres. Oh, I love it. I love it. Shout out.
Versus Daniel Pineda. A winnable fight for Bruce Leroy. I like it. Jim Miller versus Jared Gordon. I mean,
Jim Miller's still doing it.
Still
doing the damn thing.
Well, because I think he wants to get how many total fights does he have?
$1 million.
I think he wants his 45th fight or something like that to be at UFC 300. So he's trying to get there. Tim Elliott versus Victor. I'm not sure. Have I seen him fight?
Altamirano?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Fight. Oh yeah, I did against Daniel Lacerda. I remember that fight. But shout out to Miller going through some rough times in his personal life. Going into this fight. Yeah, Jamie Malarkey versus Guram Katata.
Oh, that's such a good one too.
Katala's
Abu Bakar.
Abu Bakar versus Zaleski. It's a really good card. Arlovsky's on there in the prelims.
Jeez.
Daniel Santos versus Johnny Munoz Jr. is a very good fight. Juan Lacerda versus Damon Blackshear is great. I mean, it's a good card, man. It's a really good card.
Yeah, this is a good card. All right. Well, I don't think we have a moment of silence.
No, I do want to. Blunderbub just said one championship. Friday fights are having some big ones coming up. Dude, I just need to put it out there. Let me pull this up really quick. Friday Fights 22. It is June 23rd.
Mm-hmm.
Samay versus Prahanjai and Bular versus Malikin. I mean, come on, they're putting that on a
free
on a Friday Fights. It's not on Prime. I mean, that's a banger. That's a heavyweight. That's the heavyweight title, interim versus the undisputed or whatever. But they also just announced. I think they just announced a super leg fight. They have some bangers coming forward, like absolute bangers. Eddie Apostolo, I think, is fighting. Who did they just announce he's fighting? I don't remember. I'm losing my mind.
So many good fights.
So many good fights. I'm losing my mind. It's hard to keep track of them all. What is this? Yeah, they got good fights. Super Leg versus Nabil is on that same Friday Fights 22. That's on the same card, like Super Leg and Malikin versus Bular on a Friday Fights. That's insane.
Blunderbub says Super Leg versus Nabil.
Yeah. I mean, just great fights all around. Great fights all around. Oh, I did want to talk about, if we can really quick, we're at 48 minutes. I think we have time.
The money.
You have time. I want to talk about the UFC because it wouldn't be this show if I didn't hype up ONE FC and shit on the UFC.
I know.
You stick to your roots, you know? I'm trying not to be as negative with the UFC. But
you realize you say that every week and then you shit on the UFC?
Hey, man, if they stop fucking up, I'll stop shitting on them. You know what I mean? I had to unsubscribe from them on YouTube, unfollow them on UFC on Instagram, because if you look at their YouTube channel, it looks like it got hacked. The past 50 videos are just slap fight stuff.
It's terrible.
Like, dude, I don't want that. Make a separate channel. If it's so good, if it's so big, Dana's like, on social media, it's trending bigger than the NBA, the MLB, hockey, football, all combined. And people are like, what the fuck are you talking about, dude?
But he's not wrong.
He is wrong.
But the reason that it's getting so much traction, or he's saying that it's got more attention is because people like he's probably not reading the comments. And the comments are like, this is stupid. Why is this on the UFC page? Why are we showing this trash? This isn't even a real league. Like, but they're probably just taking a look at the amount of comments. And they're like, dude, this has more comments than the last NBA post.
They're lying, man. There's no way that they're like, this weekend it did more hits than all this stuff. And it's like, dude, we can see the view count. You can see the view count. That's not private. They're on Rumble. You know, they showed on Rumble because TBS is like, nah, we're not gonna have this on TV anymore. So they're on Rumble, which is like the truther Republican YouTube. You know, it's like all the super right wing guys that got banned off YouTube went to Rumble because they would let them show whatever they want. So now slap fights on Rumble. You got Dana.
The thought of us watching something like that, man, it's rough. It's rough.
I have people. I get it. Everybody that I know, they all know I love combat sports, so they always send me shit. So many people send me slap fight stuff, and I just refuse. I'm not going to watch it. I'm not going to watch it. I refuse to watch it. Everyone's like, it's crazy. It's like, cool. I don't need to watch some dude on meth, some trucker on meth slap the shit out of some other guy, because that's what it is. I don't know if you saw that they actually they drug test, and like 9 people failed tests, and like only one of them was like for steroids. Everybody's on like meth and shit. Like, what the fuck, dude? It's insane. Rich, I'm putting a link to a Instagram reel. If I share it, it won't have audio, but it's a Luke Thomas clip. If we could just watch this and let it play. I put it in the private chat.
This is the same one you sent me, right?
Well, they just put out a document that talks about like all the numbers. So that's now public.
All right. Well,
looks like it's muted, yeah.
You said
that's also related to what the UFC made. They made $387 million in 2022 alone. Profit. For folks who are wondering what like other promoters make, Matchroom, which is one of the biggest ones in the sport, made $14 million in 2022. Guys, the UFC made more in 2022 than every MMA and boxing promoter combined. $387 million might be the most that, and probably almost certainly is the most that any promoter in combat sports has ever made in a single calendar year. But like when they say things that like Francis is making unreal demands, it's like, dude, you can't really believe that with a straight face anymore. John Nash has talked about this as well. Like, how can you take the claims about what Francis must have been demanding and what his value is in a world where they're making, truly, I mean this, historic levels of not just revenue, not we're making more on sponsorships than we used to. No. The amount of overall money they are making is without precedent in the history of fight sports. You just noodle that for a second, and then what Francis wants is like out of pocket. And before that, by the way, because everyone's talking about John Jones not getting Deontay Wilder money, can you now see that they could have paid him Deontay?
That's
Shout out Luke Thomas. Luke Thomas is so good when stuff like this comes out. He's so good.
He is. We had let the crowd stop.
Yeah. Give Luke his moment. But I mean, how insane is that? Meanwhile, they're paying guys $10,000 for a fight.
And they're like, insane.
We can't give bonuses to everybody. What? That'll break our budget. $387 million of profit. That's on top of everything else. I wonder what the revenue is. You know what I mean? If they're making $387 million in profit, what's the revenue look like? It's crazy.
It's insane, man. It really is.
We can't pay people their show and win money. We can't put people.
No, I feel like I shouldn't have sold my Endeavor stocks.
They're making so much.
Held on to them. I know
they're making so much. And here's the thing: they're doing that. Like all that money, all that profit, it's going to their debt, right? Because when Endeavor bought the UFC, they took on $1 billion in debt. So that profit is a direct result of them cutting costs. That's why they have so many Apex cards, right? They don't have to pay the venues. They don't have to do any of this stuff. They can put on these fights where guys are only making $10,000 to fight because they're getting that guarantee at the end of the year from ESPN. That alone, I think, is $300 million. Then they have the Crypto.com. They have all these sponsorships. So they're making a ton of money. Yeah, they're making a ton of money that the fighters don't see. So they're making a ton of profit, and all that's just funneling in so that they don't default on their debt from when they bought the UFC. But do you think there's going to be a renaissance of actual good quality fights when they do pay off that debt? Or do you think they're going to do what every other corporation in America does and say, how do we increase our profits even more now? Because no one likes to go down year to date.
Yeah,
year over year, you want an increase.
Yep.
Once they pay off that debt, there's no way they're going to be like, all right, cool. We don't need to make that much profit anymore. We can start doing this. It's not going to happen.
And this is where it starts becoming really dangerous for the UFC when you have organizations like the PFL that are willing to pay their fighters a little bit more. You get big name fighters like a Francis Ngannou. And look, I'm not saying that Francis Ngannou is going to make PFL the largest fighting organization all of a sudden.
He's not.
But what I think it does, though, is it makes other fighters look over their shoulders real quick and say, like, wait, what did he sign? What is PFL willing to do?
Every heavyweight is like, I'll fight Francis for $2 million. That's what it does. That's what it does. So this is going to have an effect later on down the line. And they're saying now John versus Stipe is like falling apart. How much you want to bet Stipe is trying to get out of his contract, make $2 million to fight Francis for a third time?
Hell yeah.
Why wouldn't
not?
he? Why wouldn't he?
Why not?
So now they're looking at John Jones versus Pavlovich. Stipe, he can kick rocks. And guess what? Cool. Tell me to kick rocks. They don't have the leverage anymore. If they cut Stipe is probably like, I need like $5 million to fight John. And they're going to be like, no. And then he's like, all right, cool. Then release me. And I'll just go fight Francis for $2 million. Guaranteed. With sponsors. You know what I mean? That's what it does. That's the difference maker. And then you have guys like One Championship they came to the States. Mighty Mouse. They had a massive sold out crowd. Like, now is the time. The UFC has separated them from the pack so far over the past decade. But like, because of their strategy right now, more and more people are calling them out for how much bullshit there are, and more people are watching these other organizations. I guess there's rumors that there's a bidding war right now between PFL and One Championship to buy Bellator, because Bellator's Bellator's for sale. Like, that's not a secret anymore. Could you imagine if either PFL or One Championship absorbed the roster of Bellator?
Ooh.
And I hope PFL doesn't, because I honestly hate PFL. But I'm glad they're doing what they're doing. But I can't. It's so hard to watch. It's terrible.
I like the ref cams.
Ref cam's great. I hate all the stupid shit that, we have the smart cage. I don't need to know how fast someone's punch is, because I know it's not accurate. The fact that it jumps from like 14 miles an hour to 2 miles an hour to 70 miles an hour live while the fight's happening, and they're how is that tracking? There's no way. Yeah. And what does it even mean? Who gives a shit? What's the reference? Like, I don't know what a fast punch is. You know what I mean? Because no one ever measures that, because it's pointless. And it's all over the screen. There's too much on the screen. They don't allow elbows. It's MMA without elbow. Like, come on. What are we doing?
Yeah.
The pacing is atrocious. In between fights, it's like 45 minutes. Let One Championship buy Bellator. They can have their whole roster. Imagine some of the guys that Bellator has in One Championship. Come on.
Blunderbub says, I like the season structure from the PFL, but that's about it.
It's cool. I do like that.
Yeah, but it's also rough because the chances of a fighter making it through an entire season, depending on some of the injuries, it could be a little tough. You know?
That's why they don't have elbows, right? Because if someone gets a nasty cut, then they're out of the tournament, which I understand, but we're going to make the fights worse so that we can have a tournament.
Yeah.
We had tournaments with elbows before. But regardless, it's pretty gross, the UFC right now. It sucks. It's hard. Will I stop watching their fights? No. I'm going to keep watching, because the product is undeniable. Fighting is fun to watch. Will I pay for any pay-per-views? No.
Yeah.
I will not.
But it is going to get to that point eventually. You're going to have the younger fighters coming up as one starts getting, or it continues being more popular, as PFL continues signing more fighter-friendly contracts, where they are going to, think twice about signing with the UFC and say, you know what? Chatri's throwing out $50,000 bonuses like candy. He's throwing out $100,000 bonuses on better performances. PFL's paying fighters $1 million in some cases to fight. Like, my chances of making a decent living and being able to retire at a decent age are better over here than getting into the 1% over there.
Well, I mean, how many prospects does the UFC have right now? It's not that many. Whereas like Bellator is picking up prospects like crazy. A lot of guys are going to Bellator rather than UFC because it's like, I mean,
shout out Scott Coker.
Yeah, and PFL just signed Cedric, right, the kickboxer, who had contract negotiations with the UFC the whole time. They wanted to pay him $40,000 to prove himself. Dude's a glory kickboxing champion. Like, he should be thrown in just like Alex Bejeda was. And PFL comes in, guarantees him a shit ton of money, like $250,000, whatever the number was. I don't remember, but it was something insane. It's like, why would I go to the UFC if they want me to prove myself? What have I been doing this past decade? Knocking people out with high kicks. You know what I mean? The UFC is just it's crazy, man. It's crazy.
Oh, man.
That's my rant of the episode.
It was a good one, though. It was a good one.
Yeah.
It was a
Shout
good
out Luke Thomas.
Night of fights for Friday night fights. And it was a good rant by Will about fighter pay. I like it. Shout out to Regen for joining us, even in between all the daddy duties. He's still joining us. Shout out Blunderbub. Always love hearing his takes, especially when it comes to 1FC. And then the shout out DL. Shout out DL as well for joining us. Like we said before, please like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. If you know anybody that even remotely likes fights, tell them about our show. Tell your mom. Tell her to watch the show. Why not?
As Regen says, moms love this show.
They do. Absolutely. Like, oh, hey, they're talking knockouts again.
Yeah, shout out Chris Miller and Chris Camozzi also. They have Fit Soda Media. Chris Camozzi, former UFC fighter, bare knuckle boxer now. He's got a couple knockouts in bare knuckle boxing. He's got a podcast on the Fit Soda Media channel. It's Involuntary Yoga, which is a great name for a combat sports podcast.
It is. It is.
But shout out Miller, rocking the Story of the Fight t-shirt on their last episode. Fucking awesome.
Hey, yeah, shout out. But that's all I got. You got anything else?
Nope. That's going to be it.
Blunderbub says, my mom can barely watch me wrestle without fainting, but I'll try.
But I'll try.
Join us.
I appreciate the effort.
Well, thanks again, everybody, for joining us. And thanks for anybody listening to another week of Story of the Fight. By the way, podcast produced by Richard Bustos.